Hey everyone, what's going on? I've really been enjoying playing the Druid in the Diablo 4 open beta. It's got such a visceral feel to it when you transform into a bear or a wolf. Now, is it good? I don't think so. It probably compares pretty well to the Barbarian just because it's also a melee class. And melee classes just seem to be not balanced quite well at this point because a lot of the effects in the game that attack you have to dodge it, and if you're a melee class, when you're dodging it, you can't be dealing damage. Whereas if you're a sorcerer or a ranged class, you are not losing any DPS uptime because you can just dodge, start throwing your projectiles, and never have any issues. You know, you're also, as a melee class, up in the thick of everything, so you're taking more damage. So I thought I would do a quick video breaking down the Druid in Diablo 4 at this point, or at least what I know about it. And there you go. Dead. So the build that I'm messing around with is Cyclone Armor, Vine Creeper, Rabies, Lacerate, Claw, and Shred. So it's a werewolf build. Now, Diablo 4 handles shapeshifting a lot different than Diablo 2 handled it. So in Diablo 2, each shapeshift was a skill on the skill tree, and you would have to use that skill, and then when you were in werewolf form, then there were abilities that you could use, like Rabies, while you were in that form. And in Diablo 4, the way it works is, if I use Rabies, or if I use Claw, for instance, I'm going to immediately shapeshift into a werewolf. So there's no specific skill that's like shapeshift into a werewolf. It's the same thing for, let me see if I have a bear skill. It's going to be the same thing for the werebear, which also looks freaking amazing. Whenever you use a skill that would require you to be shapeshifted in something in Diablo 2, it is going to shapeshift you in Diablo 4. So that's a little bit of a change. You still can't use spells while you're shapeshifted. So while I'm wolf, if I use Cyclone Armor, it's going to turn me back into human form and use that skill. Now, what's cool about that is there are some modifiers in the skill tree like this. When a shapeshifting skill transforms you into a different form, it deals 5% increased damage. So if you're switching back and forth between werebear and werewolf, you're going to get a damage bonus. There's also gain 2 spirit when transforming into human form. So there's some passive abilities that want you to shift back and forth between the different shapes, I should say. So what I found is that this werewolf form build that I'm working with plays quite a bit like the monk in Diablo 3. So you have basically like your generators like you would on your monk, which is, you know, your claw attack or your werebear form. Let's go up to the generators. So like the werewolf form and the werebear form function similar to regular generators. And then you have Shred, which is your like better attack, your core, but it functions similar to the monk because it teleports you to the target, which is a very big thing for the monk. And the other thing that's very similar to the monk is the Lacerate, which is an ultimate, which is basically 7-sided strike, but for a werewolf. So you become immune, you hit a bunch of targets, you deal a bunch of damage, and that's exactly like 7-sided strike. Now, one of my favorite skills is that Vine Creeper, which I just used. It shoots up a bunch of vines from the ground, poisons everything around you, and immobilizes them. It's really good. The poison damage does quite a bit. I've really been enjoying that skill. Now, the Druid also has paths or skills where you could be doing damage from afar. So, you know, you've got wind, storm, and earth magic. What I found in my very, very brief testing, and I didn't have a lot of legendaries, so it's possible there are legendary abilities that make these a lot better, but it just seemed like a worse version of the sorcerer. So if you're going to go with storm magic or lightning storm or abilities like this, I was thinking it just kind of makes more sense to just play a lightning sorcerer as opposed to playing a storm druid, because it seemed worse, it was dealing less damage, and the sorc is just better. The earth I played a little bit was decent, but the damage wasn't up to it. The best thing that I've got, and don't think I have right now, is a weapon that spawned an additional companion and increased their damage by like 200%. So during my leveling process, I was using the Wolf Companions, because it would summon 3 with the additional one. And it was dealing the active ability to deal 174 damage plus 200% was dealing a ton of damage. I don't know why I'm standing here instead of in Kyovashad, so I don't just keep getting attacked. But the companions seem like a cool aspect to it. So I'm thinking that as you get into higher level with more points, you could do a cool build where you have like a bunch of companions and still do like werewolf form or some other shape-shifting form. A little bit of a necromancer style here, and you could use all 3 of these skills at once, although you are pretty limited in your slots. So yeah, I had a lot of fun playing the Druid. I'm level 25. I have a full kit of legendary items. A lot of them seemed to be related to damage reduction. For instance, 10% damage reduction while you're in a werewolf form. Duration of Earthen Bulwark is increased. That's another protection type spell. This is an imprinted one that I got, which is critical strikes with Shred, which is my right-click core skill. Deal 20% of the damage as lightning to the target and surrounding enemies, which is cool. Cyclone Armor provides physical damage reduction. Cyclone Armor is super good because its passive ability, 21.8% non-physical damage reduction, and with that legendary, it's also physical damage reduction. And then if you need it, you can use it to kick enemies away from you. I really enjoyed having that on my bar. Becoming injured while CC'd grants you Unstoppable. Basic skills gain 58% attack speed. Another imprinted ability, after killing an enemy with Shred, again my core skill, your next werewolf skill generates 20% more spirit and deals 20% increased damage. So if I attack with Shred, I basically just switch back and forth between Shred and my basic attack, which is Claw, or it makes Lacerate deal 20% more damage, which is a ton of damage. Skills deal up to 27% increased damage based on your available primary resource when cast. So again, if I get to full resource and use Lacerate, that's a pretty big damage buff. And then the Vigo's Protection Amulet, because I haven't found a better amulet yet, or a better ability worth imprinting. So yeah, that's my Druid at this point. Again, I've been having quite a bit of fun, but you can tell while playing it, at least at level 25, it is not nearly as good as my Sorcerer, which kind of seems to be the case for every character in this beta so far, that they're just not quite as good as the Sorcerer. Maybe that will change. One thing to note about the Druid in the beta is that there is a quest to do this like Druid Spirits of the Lost Grove, which is your special class feature, and you can't unlock it in the beta because it's over here in Skazglen or Dry Steppes. I'm not sure which one, but we can't get over there. So you're missing your core, one of your core abilities, whereas, you know, like the Sorc has their enchant, their first enchant anyway, and like Necro has their abilities, and Druid is just missing that. And I think that that's going to make a big difference. So just take that for what it is. You're not getting the full experience of the Druid at this point. Again, it's just a beta, so that makes sense. But that's going to be it for this one. I hope you enjoyed my little quick breakdown of the Druid in the Diablo 4 beta. Have you tried out the Druid? What do you think? Thanks for watching.